Welcome to the Netherlands. Welcome to NL Jobs. To prepare you as well as possible for life in the Netherlands, we developed this video. Despite the long journey, we will now tell you about the most important things you will have to deal with in the upcoming period. In the Netherlands, it is mandatory that everyone who works has their own personal number. We call this a social security number or a citizen service number. If you already own this, we will make a copy of it. If you do not own this yet, we will invite you to request a citizen service number from the municipality in coming weeks. You will be invited by telephone call. For the appointment at the municipality, you have to bring a valid proof of identity. Until that time, you can already work, but we can't pay you out of your salary yet. Of course, we will ensure that you receive cash allowance during that period, so you are able to make necessary purchases. You can apply for this cash allowance to a maximum of €50 per week from the second working week. In order to receive a salary, you also need a bank account. This must be a European currency account, preferably a Dutch account. If you do not have a Dutch account, you pay transaction costs for your bank to receive payments from the Netherlands. If you have a citizen service number, you can apply for a bank account in the Netherlands. NL Jobs can provide you with tips if you want to do that. Furthermore, it is also mandatory in the Netherlands to have health insurance, which they call in Holland ziektekostenverzekering or zorgverzekering. If you are already insured against medical expenses, we will make a copy of your health insurance certificate. If you are not insured against medical expenses in the Netherlands, we refer you directly to Hollandzorg. Hollandzorg offers low-cost health insurance. NL Jobs cooperates with this company. Before you go to work, you also have to sign a number of documents, for example, your employment contract. At the end of this presentation, an employee of NL Jobs will hand you a folder with documents. One signed copy per document must be in possession of NL Jobs. The employees of NL Jobs are there to help you, so you never feel burdened to ask questions if something is not clear. After you have read and signed all documents, you will be guided to the accommodation where you will stay. NL Jobs uses different types of accommodations. However, all locations are arranged according to certain standards. In the Netherlands, a quality mark is issued for housing. It's called SNF Quality Mark. All accommodations of NL Jobs comply with this. Issues such as hygiene, privacy and order are very important for us. You contribute to this as a resident. Always keep in mind that you live together with fellow housemates and local residents. Take their presence into account. All rules and tips about living in NL Jobs accommodations are described in an information folder, which you can find in your house. In 2018, NL Jobs will charge you for accommodation costs. It may happen that you have to move, for example, because you are going to work somewhere else. It can also happen that you would like to live somewhere else. In that case, you can request it. NL Jobs will inform you when you are allowed to move. If you need any help with moving your stuff, you can inform NL Jobs about it. Of course, we try to limit the number of forced relocations to minimum. If you are temporarily absent, for example on vacation, there is a possibility to reserve your room. If you do this, you still have to pay the usual weekly costs. It will guarantee you that after your absence, you will return to the same room. If you do not use this scheme, chances are that after your absence, you will be relocated to another room, sometimes also at a different address. When you leave, you must also take all your belongings with you. Do you want certainty in having the same room after returning? Then choose to reserve your room. Always discuss your vacation request at least 4 weeks in advance with your general manager or contact person of NL Jobs. It is important that your vacation is registered and approved by them. Before you return from your vacation, we would like to receive confirmation that you will indeed return. You can do this by contacting us before Friday. If you no longer want to stay in NL Jobs housing, for example because you buy or rent a house by yourself, you must give us a notice of at least 4 weeks in advance. This will be used as a notification period. NL Jobs has allocated one or more managers for each accommodation. He or she is there to help you when it comes to staying in NL Jobs accommodation. You can find his or her telephone number on the information board in your house. NL Jobs is not responsible for your personal belongings, so please store them with care. In companies, it is possible to use lockers or cabinets that can be locked. To get to the workplace, NL Jobs uses a variety of transport. Some accommodations are located so close to the place of work that you can walk. In some cases, if the distance is bigger, bicycles of NL Jobs are used. However, in most cases, NL Jobs cars are used. NL Jobs determines who is the driver of a car. He or she is the only one who is allowed to drive the car, and that person is also responsible for the car. With this car, a maximum of 9 kilometers per week can be driven privately. If you still want to drive more private kilometers by car, it costs €19 for the first 100 kilometers per week. After, the costs are 10 cents per kilometer. This scheme is called the additional Beiteling. This is deducted from the salary of the driver. This arrangement applies as long as you are a driver of the car, so you can't stop the additional tax during the calendar year. Every week, the car needs to be refueled. This can be done at different locations. You will be informed about this as a driver when you get a car. You have to pay for the private kilometers yourself. Thus, NL Jobs does not charge you for any costs for the use of transport for commuter traffic. If you are in possession of your own car and are willing to use it, you can get a compensation for it. You do need to pick up a number of colleagues when you drive to your work location and also bring them back home after working hours. At the company where you work, various rules apply. These rules are there for your safety, hygiene of the products that are produced or packed, and to ensure that there are good working conditions. Before you start working, there is often an instruction given about these rules. You can also find them at different places in the work location. If you do not understand something or do not receive any instruction, please ask a manager of the company. Try to listen carefully to the work instruction and to learn from colleagues who have been working at the company for some time. For some companies, it is required to read and sign a document before you start to work. If that is the case, this document will be issued to you after this presentation. In the Netherlands, it is mandatory that you can always legitimize yourself. This means that you can prove who you are. Make sure you always carry your passport or ID card with you. Checkups are also taking place at the work floor, where you can be asked for your identity. Guidance at and outside the workplace. We think it is very important that you can always talk to someone if you want to. That is why contact persons have been allocated in the company. These employees of NL Jobs will introduce themselves to you shortly before or shortly after you start working. They are your first point of contact. They are there for you, so do not hesitate to approach them. They will come to your work location now and then during breaks, but you can also contact them by phone and email. You can ask them anything, except matters related to your accommodation. For that, you contact the accommodation manager. A week after you start working, you will receive a digital questionnaire from us. We ask your opinion about the first period that you are working via NL Jobs. We appreciate it if you make an effort to answer these questions, because we like to learn from you. NL Jobs pays out your salary once a week. This always happens on a Thursday. In most cases, this depends on your bank, the salary is in your account on Friday. The salary is determined on the basis of the number of hours that you worked in the previous week. The companies pass these hours to NL Jobs. The hours you work in week 1 will be paid in week 2. NL Jobs also builds up vacation days for you. This is called reservation. If you work a full month, about 2 vacation days are built up. As soon as you go on vacation, you can use these vacation days. The week after your return, these days will be paid to you. In addition to vacation days, you also get vacation allowance. In 2018, this amount will be added to your salary weekly and paid out immediately. For questions about your salary, payslip and vacation days, you can also contact your first contact person. If, during the period in the Netherlands, you are unexpectedly too ill to work, you should always report this to NL Jobs by telephone. You do this by calling the emergency number at least 1 hour before the start of your work. If it is necessary to go to the doctor, you should also make this known to NL Jobs by telephone. Then we ensure that an appointment is scheduled as soon as possible. The entire sickness procedure will be given to you after this presentation. The procedure can also be found on our website and in the Housing Information folder. Make sure you know the procedure. The NL Jobs team is at your service 24 hours per day in case of an emergency. Use the emergency number properly. Questions that are not urgent should be asked during office hours. This way we can be at your service as best possible. We hope you will have a pleasant time at NL Jobs.